Hello everybody. In today's explainer video, I will be going over a developmental study that pretty much focuses on the children's use of anatomically detailed dolls to report genital touching in a medical examination. Within this study, both the developmental and gender comparisons are explored. Now, in regards to this experiment, it was conducted by three main researchers. First of all was Maggie Bruck, who is from the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. Additionally, Stephen J. Sessi from Cornell University and Emmett Francois from the Montreal Children's Hospital.
The goal of this study is to determine the validity of the use of anatomical dolls in interviewing young children, in particular in cases of sexual trauma. In many societies, the use of dolls has been thought of as an easy way for children to explain what had happened to them sexually. But recent research has shown that this is not always the case. In order to determine whether this courtroom questioning technique is valid or not, the researchers conducted this study. Overall, the methodology behind this study is quite simple. First, there were 84 children chosen to be a part of the study. 40 of the children were 3 years old, whereas the other 44 were between the ages of 4 to 5. In addition, the gender distribution between the two groups were also very similar, as there were 24 girls and 16 boys in the 3-year-old group. The 4-year-old group, on the other hand, consisted of 24 girls and 20 boys. From here, the children were assigned into one of two groups, general examination or no general examination. The procedure is as follows. The parents were informed about the experiment, and they then took the child into the examining room and removed all the child's clothes except for their underpants, and from there, they then dressed their child in a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, a pair of white socks, and nothing else. The pediatrician entered the room and carried out a regular medical examination. The only 3 activities that were different between that and a normal medical examination was that A, he wrapped the ribbon around the child's wrist, B, he lifted the child's t-shirt and placed the sticker on the child's stomach, and C, he tickled the child's foot with a yellow stick while the child's socks are on. From there, those that were to receive a general examination, the pediatrician lifted the Mickey Mouse t-shirt, took off the child's underpants, and then lightly touched the child in their genital area. The children who did not receive this examination kept their underpants on for the entire physical. After the exam, the parent and the child went into another room, and the child was shown 2 dolls, one that was a doctor and one that was a child. The child was then asked to name body parts on the child doll. But eventually what happened was the interviewer would take off the doll's clothes and show the child that the doll had more parts than a regular doll. From there, the doctor would ask the child, the researcher would ask the child, did the doctor touch you here, etc. This was repeated all the way to the genitals. From there, the interviewer then gave the child a miniature but realistic version of a stethoscope and asked if the doctor had touched you with something like this. So this same procedure was repeated with realistic miniature ear scopes as well as a ribbon sticker and a yellow stick. If the child tickled the doll's foot without putting on the socks, the child was asked, did you have your socks on or off? From there, the interviewer brought out 2 dolls, and he would ask, show me how the doctor touched your blank. If the child showed touching and did not remove the underpants, the interviewer asked, did you have your underpants on or off when he touched your buttocks? From there, more probing questions were asked. Furthermore, the child was shown a small plastic spoon and was asked, what is this? After the child answered the question, the interviewer would ask, did the doctor do something with this spoon? And if so, show me on the doll. The research team added this to figure out what the base rates were as a sort of way to eliminate extraneous information. Finally, at the end of the interview, children in the non-genital condition who falsely showed genital or buttock touching were debriefed, and these children were removed from the sample group. So ultimately in this experiment, with the independent variable being whether the child was generally examined or not, and the dependent variable being how accurate they were in detailing what had happened to them, it was shown that despite the fact that 4-year-olds did a slightly better job than 3-year-olds at responding to situations in which an item was used, overall, neither group was highly accurate, and both groups made significant errors in detailing what had happened to them. Ultimately, what this proves is that the use of dolls as a prop in a questioning environment is generally advised against due to the many imperfections that can be caused.